Nearly 18 years after a brutal rape and murder in Grand Rapids, police say they have their man. He's Rodrigo Hernandez, already on Texas's death row. DNA evidence now linking Hernandez to the rape and murder of Muriel Stoepker, a homeless Grand Rapids woman. Tonight, we're taking this story further. Who really was this woman? Muriel Stoepker, once beautiful, thriving, a young woman, transformed into a person her family could hardly recognize, a woman many in the city called the Bag Lady. 24-Hour News 8's Leon Hendricks shows us who the Bag Lady really was through the eyes of her brother.
It was a real switch of personality that she became a bag lady, because she was always very particular, about her appearance when she was young.
Muriel Stoepker, homeless, all of her belongings in plastic bags. She lived a life of loneliness, plagued with mental illness. But Wallace Stoepker knew a different Muriel, his sister, before she'd become known as the Bag Lady.
When she was younger, she was a nice-looking girl, and that she was fairly talented, and she was able to type. She worked for a lawyer, and she always dressed real neatly and stylish.
The Muriel pictured here, her brother says, classy to an arrogant fault. So much so that she didn't associate with her siblings.
He wanted to give the impression that she was rich.
Yeah.
Wallace, a clergyman, a pastor who made $25 a week when he started, she had little to do with him. The life-changing turn came midlife for Muriel. Wallace can't pinpoint the year, but her boyfriend of 15 years was killed in a tractor accident in a Saugatuck field.
He was alone. He was crushed to death.
It was thereafter that Muriel's life changed dramatically, from an elegant and beautiful, talented woman to this, skinny, frail, homeless, the Bag Lady.
She was never a warm person, and then, of course, in her illness.
In 1991, while Wallace lived in Canada with his wife, a phone call, Muriel had been murdered.
It's still pretty fresh in my mind, almost as much as when it occurred.
Killed in GR's downtown area, found near GRCC. A motive still unknown. $2,000, her brother says, was still on her person.
We figured it was a closed, unsolvable case.
At Muriel's funeral, a reality even more sad. The way she died, horrific. The way she lived, tragic.
Nobody came to us at the funeral and said, "Oh, we knew your sister quite well." We're not aware that she had any friend.
Muriel's family tried to help her over the years, but that help was rebuffed. She wouldn't stay in contact and even refused money orders sent to support her. Wallace says that he was happy to get the call from detectives that the case was solved, but says the family had found closure years ago. The suspect in this case still not talking to police about the allegations. Susie?
Thank you, Leon. The journey to find Muriel's alleged killer, a complicated one. It started in 1991 at the crime scene in Grand Rapids. A trace amount of DNA left behind, but the technology not advanced enough to link it to anyone. In 1994, Rodrigo Hernandez kills, this time in Texas, but he's not caught. Fast forward to 2002 in Grand Rapids. Hernandez is charged with assault and put in jail. When he gets out, a mandatory DNA swab is performed, and he is linked to the 1994 Texas murder, but not Muriel's. Hernandez is sentenced to death in Texas, and now, 18 years later, after the original incident in Grand Rapids, police use more advanced technology to test the tiny sample of his DNA collected in this city back in 1991. And after all those years, today, police say they finally know who killed Muriel.
We move now to Barry County.